That detection is so shit. Such garbage. Always ambushing you during these animations. Wow, really? What is this? I can't punish him when I shoot his legs? Wow. I'm really getting tired of this. Yeah, at this point, I just know new Capcom like the back of my hand. With all their new releases. Every single thing I noticed in the first couple of gameplay trailers for Resident Evil 4 Remake, when I just saw the poor designs present, and the potential route that they would be going for with Resident Evil 4 Remake, gameplay-wise. It's all come true. And it's all compounded into a gameplay product that feels so much like an alpha. It's worse than Resident Evil Village on Village of Shadows difficulty. I did not think new Capcom could be even more stupid than how they were when they developed Resident Evil Village. But they have one-upped the sheer stupidity they displayed back in Resident Evil Village. by creating this shitty game with this shit difficulty mode that just showcases what they truly believe in. All of the lies they showcased to the idiotic fan base with the earlier difficulties of Resident Evil 4 Remake, it's all completely shattered by this highest difficulty. And they're like, oh, don't expect Mad Chainsaw mode in the final product. It's only exclusive to the demo. The only thing that will not be transferred over to the final product from Mad Chainsaw mode is just the name. Every other parameter associated with Mad Chainsaw mode is just going to get transferred onto professional difficulty for Resident Evil 4 Remake. This is by far the most insulting remake of a game I have ever seen. I can't say anything about Resident Evil 2 Remake and Resident Evil 3 Remake when compared to their counterparts, because they're pretty similar with each other. And the changes that the remakes do don't feel so, severe. But this is way more severe, just gameplay-wise. It's not just about camera. I mean, camera is still the same between Resident Evil 4 OG and Resident Evil 4 Remake. But the gameplay, the mentalities, the way they've designed the environments, the way they designed the enemies, the complete lack of flinch animations, the complete invalidation of the brand new mechanics associated with this remake because of the way they've designed the hardest difficulty. Like, they've tried to combine elements of Resident Evil 1 Remake and Resident Evil 2 Remake with the ideology instilled in Resident Evil 4, and they've just created a big imbalance. Lack of flinch animations, slow gameplay, slow shooting, slow camera, very clunky movement. There's enemies that just stand around and then they attack, bullshit grabs, where it's all designed to accommodate crouching, but the crouch is so useless against the grabs, because if the enemies do them at close range, which happens every single time, you get grabbed, you have no time to react. And even when you do successfully crouch, they can still grab you at the end of the grab. I'm seriously just at a loss of words right now. And then the stuff they've listed with their trophy as well, with pistol/knife only, and they not even specify difficulty. It's the same improper mentalities associated with the Knives Out challenge for Resident Evil Village. Glamorizing a challenge that doesn't fit the core designs of the game. What the fuck were they thinking? And that has nothing to do with rush development. That has everything to do with the idiots in charge of New Capcom who were developing Resident Evil Village. And they've only accepted these changes because it fits their vision of so-called survival horror. Well, apparently a broken experience is somehow associated with survival horror. Chickens. The fucking detection is terrible. Where the hell is this guy? He still gets me. The grabs make no sense in this game. They're so badly designed. The worst grabs ever introduced in a Resident Evil game, by far. Where the hell is this chainsaw guy? Oh, he's dead. Okay. So there you have it, guys. Wow, I feel so fucking accomplished. Oh, this is truly a difficult mode. Oh, I feel like I showcased the full potential of the game. No, I didn't do any of that in the stupid difficulty mode. The removal of so many fundamental mechanics from this game, and just making the game even more awkward than what it already was on standard, and the complete neglect of any of the new mechanics of Resident Evil 4 Remake, just forced me to rely upon an exploit where if you get behind the chainsaw man, he has so much trouble turning around because he doesn't have any kind of back attack like Ubisoft did in Resident Evil 6, or the chainsaw man in Resident Evil 5. So, by taking advantage of this, I can shoot his head with the shotgun until eventually he gets stunned. Then I can actually finish him off with the knife. But of course, I have to make sure that the first time I use the grenade on him, I have to wait until he finishes the animation, because he's completely invulnerable during the animation for no reason. And then I can actually do this method. Like, I have to use exploits. I have to find holes in the game's programming to allow me to do this. How the fuck can you call this good difficulty design? After the shit I had to go through trying to solve this, I had to do this to finally solve it? Is this the grand solution to new Capcom's supposedly difficult experience that'll likely get transferred onto professional difficulty of Resident Evil 4 Remake? How the fuck is this survival horror? How the fuck is this scary? How the fuck is this a challenge? Where is the legitimate challenge in this? I mean, seriously, the sheer stupidity of the developers that was present the entire time during Resident Evil Village's development has been transferred onto here. And I cannot believe that one of the directors of this game is the same director who handled Resident Evil 5. And he made this shitty game with someone else who was the director for Resident Evil 2 Remake. Just how the mighty have fallen. How the mighty have fallen indeed. And this can be applied to Resident Evil 4 Remake as well. This is such a mockery of the original Resident Evil 4. It doesn't even feel like they remade Resident Evil 4. It just feels like they made some different game that just has the title of Resident Evil 4, and it has Leon and the Ganados, but it doesn't follow the same mentalities like what was applied to in Resident Evil 4. I can't say anything about the remakes of Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3, because I don't feel like they're so much of a polar opposite to their counterparts. This feels like a polar opposite. Not just in terms of the way it looks, but in terms of mentalities, in terms of difficulty design, in terms of the complete invalidation of mechanics. I'd much rather go play Dead Space Remake. That game actually was remade for all the right reasons, and they improved so many of the poor designs that were present in Dead Space 1 to make a phenomenal game. Why the fuck couldn't new Capcom learn from the same team that handled Dead Space Remake? It's unforgivable. It's absolutely unforgivable. I've wasted so much time trying to rationalize this mode, trying to solve it, and I come to a crappy solution involving exploits and finding holes in the Chainsaw Man's programming. I am so done with new Capcom at this point. This game is getting a review. I'm already in the middle of writing my review for Resident Evil Village. Or correction, I've already written the review. I just need to put it to commentary and find the necessary video footage and music to fully complete the review. But I never thought I would immediately reach the decision of making another review for the next Resident Evil game. They have just forced my hand severely with this shit game. I am not looking forward to the final product. And they're like, oh, Mad Chainsaw Mode is only exclusive to the demo. But that's a bunch of bullshit. I guarantee you guys, the only thing that's going to be different between professional difficulty and Mad Chainsaw difficulty is the fucking title. All of the shit, improper designs of this fucking difficulty mode are going to be present on professional difficulty. All of them. All the improper mentalities, all the poor decision making, the lack of common sense, the complete dissolution of everything that makes this game what it is on a fundamental level. It's all going to be brought over to professional difficulty. That's it. That's literally what it's going to be for that game on professional difficulty. And I'm going to shit all over new Capcom when I do my blind playthrough for sure. And then they're glamorizing the whole pistol knife only trophy for Resident Evil 4 Remake. If it's already as shit as it is with Mad Chainsaw Mode, and they want to say that this game is serviceable for pistol/knife only, then they are completely out of their element. They completely misunderstand their own designs with the game. They're not comprehending their own designs at this point, just like with Resident Evil Village, when they glamorize that shitty knife-only trophy for Resident Evil Village. I mean, I already had low expectations with this game, but to have them all just confirmed with this demo, I feel so fucking vindicated, but I really wish I wasn't. Of course he's still alive. Oh, the fucking enemy pushed him out of the way. How the fuck is he still alive? 2 grenades, shotgun shells, a knife execution, and he's still going. Finally. What a shit fight.
Ways closed.
Yep. I knew he was going to grab. I knew he was going to grab. Like, you just cannot react to that. Like, I even crouched, but the crouch is so unresponsive in this game. When you're sprinting, or when you're trying to, like, shoot your weapon. Every time you shoot your weapon, Leon never crouches afterwards, because there's a delay after he shoots. Why the fuck would they design the grabs in such a way that the method for actually avoiding them... What the hell? I don't get that. Why would they design the grabs in such a way that the methodology involved with actually avoiding it is so unresponsive and unreliable? I mean, the idea of using a passive crouch mechanic to avoid attacks I do like, but it shouldn't be this Oh, and I saw that bear trap at the last second. I cannot believe I have to waste time with that. Once again, professional difficulty is going to be exactly like this in Resident Evil 4 Remake when it releases. I don't care what new Capcom says. They might say this mode is exclusive to the demo, but all the parameters, except for the name, are going to be on professional difficulty. Yeah, without any possible way of stunning him, without even having the advantage of crouching under that grab because it's a really shitty hitbox. How the fuck was I supposed to deal with that guy just then? What? Why did he trip? Whoa! Really? Interrupting that animation too? Stop automatically mantling, you idiot! Jesus Christ, this is Resident Evil, guys. This is fucking Resident Evil. How can this game be part of the same fucking series? It's like I'm in a fucking football match and everyone's just piling up on top of me. And I'm having to put myself in these awkward positions because I'm trying to figure out how to stun this guy, because the only possible way I can actually stun this guy and actually get close to him, to actually do the knife attack on him, to actually stab him from behind, is to get him to mantle, get behind him because he has a lot of trouble actually turning, stun him in the head, and then do the knife execution on him from behind, because the prompt doesn't last very long because he recovers from the animation so fast. And the knife doesn't detect whatsoever if the prompt for the melee goes away. How the fuck does anyone think this is fucking challenging? This guy barely flinches from anything. It takes like 10 shots from your pistol to flinch this guy. And it takes like 3 or 4 shotgun shells to the face to flinch this guy for some bizarre reason. All of these artificial changes that they made to this game to deliver a supposedly scary, challenging, survival horror experience? How the fuck is this survival horror? Any of you fucking retards want to say that Mad Chainsaw mode is befitting for the game? Get a fucking life, you losers. This dude has so much trouble mantling. Great. Like, why do the enemies need weapons at all? They're so much more douchey when they don't have weapons. Because they get all these unfair advantages. No flinch animations. Grabs that just go on for like a mile, it feels like. Not to mention the whole methodology for avoiding... Look at that. Look at that fucking shit. The crouch would have not been useful in that case because it's so unresponsive when you're sprinting. There's literally no point in giving the enemies weapons. You can't even deflect the fucking grabs as well. And why does that make me flinch? He finished his animation, and it's making me flinch for no reason. Why is it... Oh my god. Like, everyone is just catching up to me all the time, because everyone's so fast. Oh, and apparently the Chainsaw Man died. Wow. I feel so fucking accomplished. That's exactly how a harder difficulty should be handled. Finding holes in an AI's programming to allow you to stay behind them and just shoot them with the shotgun to the head until they eventually get stunned. Because he recovers so fast from the animation, and for some reason, they don't allow you to do knife executions from the front, even though he's in the fucking flinch animation. They just intentionally tried to make it awkward, because somehow, awkward gameplay is suitable for survival horror. Where is the scariness? Like, where is the intimidation provided with awkward controls and awkward, like, mechanics like that? And the thing I don't understand is when you shoot enemies in the leg and you put them into that kneel-down animation, you can actually execute them from the front on standard difficulty, but it doesn't seem to apply on Mad Chainsaw Mode because the enemies recover so fast from their animations. This is the most brain-dead Resident Evil game I have ever played by far. And that is saying a lot, especially when I played Resident Evil 1 Remake and Resident Evil 2 Remake, and then even like Resident Evil Village. But I mean, focusing on Resident Evil 1 Remake and 2 Remake, those games were just designed for knife only, so you just mindlessly ran past the enemies. No incentive whatsoever to use weapons on any of those games. Because it was all just like a marathon with the dumbest enemies ever. But this has just one-upped that entirely. I seriously cannot fathom a reality where anyone can think this is a challenge. If the game is going to put you in those kind of positions where you're having to game the system and game the AI to actually get through a stupid fucking section, are you even playing a game at that point? You're playing a fucking alpha. Like, how fucking dense and retarded do you have to be to consider this true survival horror? Or like how the developers could possibly think that this is suitable for a legitimate difficulty? There is no fucking challenge here. And I know someone's gonna say, oh, just get the flash grenade. You're busy whining and complaining and this and that. Just use the flash grenade to stun him and then just like mindlessly throw grenades at him, shoot shotgun shells at him, and he'll be dead. Still hasn't changed what it is. You have multiple raw chickens. You can garnish the raw chickens however you want. You're still eating raw chicken in the process. That's what it is. I'm insulted as a Resident Evil player. I have played so many Resident Evil games, let me tell you. Resident Evil 1, Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil 3, Resident Evil 4, Resident Evil 5, Resident Evil 6, Resident Evil 7, Revelations 1, Revelations 2, 1 Remake, 2 Remake, 3 Remake, even this one, which I can't even consider a game at this point. Project Resistance, Resident Evil Reverse, Umbrella Corps, Operation Raccoon City, Dead Aim. You can't say that I'm being a hater, guys. I'm hating this game because I love Resident Evil, and this is a massive insult to Resident Evil as a whole. How they could play the original version of Resident Evil 4 and consider this to be peak tier, high difficulty design, when they master the higher difficulty with Resident Evil 7 on Madhouse difficulty. Resident Evil 7 was sublime. It was the last good Resident Evil game. But Resident Evil 2 Remake was just a bore. It wasn't even a game at that point. Resident Evil 3 Remake was pretty forgettable, and it stripped so many areas apart. And the fights against Nemesis were atrocious. They ruined Nemesis like crazy in Resident Evil 3 Remake. And then Resident Evil Village. I like it more than Resident Evil 2 and 3 Remake, but that game just split my soul in two, and it's run by the shittiest development team I have ever seen for a game ever. And this same team is handling this game. And they released this difficulty mode. As if it's legitimately difficult. As if you're getting a challenge. You're breaking your fucking game down. You're completely disincentivizing anyone from using the new mechanics of your game. You're stripping the game bare. Just to actually implement a fucking strategy. To allow you to exploit the game. And deal with this chainsaw man. Who has all these absurd capabilities that don't match his physical characteristics. The guy's able to run through shotgun shells. It takes like 4 shotgun shells to the head to stun him, and even then it's fucking inconsistent. The stun animations are non-existent on him, and with the other enemies as well. They might as well just be special enemy types. I'm seriously at a loss of words, guys. Professional difficulty on this game, and when the final game releases, is going to be exactly like this. I don't care what new Capcom says. They might say this difficulty mode is restricted to the demo, but they'll port it over to professional difficulty for Resident Evil 4 Remake, and the only thing that will be different is the name. All the other parameters will be preserved. They'll rearrange the enemy placements in some really stupid ways. They'll remove flinch animation, so you'll be forced to use exploits to your advantage, or to just like have forward knowledge of the sections to better progress through the areas. Just run past a bunch of dumb enemies. Or in this case, a bunch of needlessly aggressive enemies that don't have any sense of flinch animations, and the only way you're going to flinch them is through special mechanics, like when you're shooting enemies in the leg while they're running, but even then the running animation is so inconsistent with the enemies, they just choose to stop for no reason, or by deflecting them. But of course, knife durability is going to be a factor to consider, so in order to even preserve your knife durability, you have to pretty much play the game like it's bare, like it's a fucking alpha. Just running past all the enemies all the time. And then these mandatory combat encounters, you'll probably just be sitting in one area, just spamming shotguns like crazy, or other high-tiered weapons, just mindlessly upgrading at the merchant. Just getting those damage values, getting those like crafting recipes, getting all that ammunition, all those crafting supplies. Like you're playing a bad RPG game. Resident Evil Village was already bad with its balancing, but this game has already one-upped that. On the very first demo. And I know some retards are going to be like, oh, it's only a demo, it's not the actual final product. If you say that, then you have zero understanding of how demos or betas even work. The Resident Evil Village demos, with the castle and the village demo, were directly taken from the final version of the game. And it's the same case here with Resident Evil 4 Remake. This was directly taken from the final version of the game. And if all that is here, it's gonna be on professional difficulty, which is the difficulty mode that showcases the developer's true mindset, their mentalities, and what they actually view as a legitimately challenging hard difficulty or like a survival horror experience. This is their true mindset, guys. This is how they view their games. They have no respect for themselves. They have no respect for Resident Evil. They have no respect for their fans. They expect their gullible fans to buy into this shit by just playing on the marketing for Resident Evil 4, playing on the name. All they have to do is just slap the title of Resident Evil 4, and they will have a flock of fans come their way to just give them all that big dough. Because money is what's driving new Capcom at this point. They just don't care anymore. They really don't. Like, this is the kind of difficulty mode that a fucking modder would make. An inexperienced modder not affiliated with an official organization. Oh boy. You know, previously with my other Resident Evil games, when I did blind playthroughs, I only ever did the first difficulty mode I ever played. And then I just did the harder difficulty off camera. But I'm going to showcase the hardest difficulty as well as the very first difficulty I'll be playing when I first get this game for my blind playthrough. Because I guarantee you, my reactions are going to be something you're going to want to see. Because they will be justified in every sort of way against this shitty company that has just disgraced the memory of Resident Evil 4. All the fucking tryhards, I want to say there is a big accomplishment with this, that this is legitimately challenging. You're a fucking alien if you decide to say that. No fucking common sense whatsoever. But that's all I'm gonna say right there. More is going to crop up when the final game releases on March 24th. I'm literally at a loss of words. I'm just fucking done.